Today I'm joined by apparel designer Stephanie Venita Stimmler from San Francisco, California, to discuss sustainable fashion and the masks she's produced in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. Hi, Stephanie.
Hi.
Could you tell me about your brand, Venita?
Yes, Venita is a multifaceted sustainable fashion consulting company. I specialize in custom apparel design, wardrobe styling, and I teach Japanese shibori indigo workshops.
What are some slow fashion, eco-fashion brands that you admire?
I really love Stella McCartney. If you look at her collection and you see her handbags or her shoes, that's not real leather. She's collaborated with Bolt Threads, and so they had created a biodegradable mushroom leather. That is a better leather to produce because most vegan leathers use harsh chemicals. A few others, I like Mara Hoffman. She's using plant-based materials that are biodegradable. She's really thought through her design, good construction, good quality. She's great.
Why is sustainable fashion, eco-fashion, slow fashion, and ethical fashion important?
So really paying attention to how your clothing is being made, who's making the clothes is important because you could be buying product that is made at a sweatshop, but that's the responsibility of a design company and brand to be transparent about. And there's a lot of companies out there that aren't. But the companies that are transparent about how the clothing's being made, the fabrics that they're making, those companies are definitely telling people about the process. Whereas most fast fashion brands, they will never tell you their processes because, for one, they're using very cheap fabrics. They're negotiating with the factories to really bring down the cost. Think about that worker that is making the garments. They're not getting paid barely anything. And then also, they're not transparent about the fabric because it's synthetic. And most fast fashion brands are using polyester, which is petroleum, and it's not natural, and it's highly toxic. And some companies can recycle it into new materials, but I mean, overall, you just really can't get rid of it. It's not biodegradable. There's some factories out there that are actually taking the wastewater and they're just dumping it into the waterways and polluting. Overall, it's not sustainable.
What I find most impressive is that you've taken concepts around sustainability and you've applied that to face masks. Could you explain the design and the materials of your mask?
So our masks are high quality, handmade, reusable, and washable. Each mask has 3 layers of 100% organic cotton poplin. It's a non-toxic plant-based fiber that restricts the use of synthetic agricultural chemicals that you would commonly find in conventional cotton. So I've done a different assortment of shibori patterns. Shibori is a Japanese technique. It's a resist dye. Each pattern comes out uniquely different, but the dye itself is plant-based. You don't have to worry about breathing in toxic chemicals as if you were to buy like a regular printed mask. As for the design features, I have put 2 inserts. There's a insert for either a surgical mask, or you can put in paper towels or coffee filters or whichever filtration that you choose. And then there's also a little insert for the nose wire, which I've just used pipe cleaner. And so you can take it out before each wash. And then also I chose to do the elastic bands that go around the head. So it's going to go around the top of the head and the neck. Every nurse and doctor that I spoke to, because originally when I started this, I was just making it for healthcare workers. And they specifically said that when the elastics around the ears after hours of working just makes the back of their ears really raw. So I felt like it was really important to do around the head, which is why I kept with this design. But now that I'm designing more for the public, I'm creating a second version of the mask, and then it's going to have your straps. Because, the average person is probably not wearing the mask full time like a nurse or a doctor, where some people are doing around the ear, kind of like what you're wearing. So yeah, you just pull it over your head and then position it over the nose.
Very cool.
Make sure that the nose wire is fitting nice snug against the face. There's different patterns and different sizes.
How have you managed slow and ethical fashion during the COVID-19 crisis, a situation where the demand for face masks is very heavy?
That's a really good question because there was a point in time in March where there wasn't any resources for N95 masks. And here I am sitting in my home studio with just my Juki sewing machine. And my heart's desire was like, I need to make masks for everyone, you know? So I would have just stayed up and pulled all-nighters to do it because I just wanted to help people. But obviously that's not sustainable. My max was just to create at least 25 masks per day because these masks have a lot of different components to it. It wasn't as simple as your standard square mask, but I feel that having a company to step in, which there was one that I did collaborate with, Bayside in LA, they were able to produce 1 million masks in a matter of weeks. And so they got a government fund to be able to open up their factory and position all the sewing machines about 6 feet apart and get their seamstresses in and sewing masks to get out to the public quickly. So in a panic and people needing protective gear, I totally support that. But as far as fast fashion goes, absolutely not. And if you think about all the different companies out there that are just overproducing at that max speed of 52 collections a year, I mean, it's just extremely detrimental on the environment with the chemicals that are used, the entire textile process, the manufacturing process, and then also just the carbon emissions with shipping to and from different countries and then to the consumer.
Thank you so much for joining me today.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I really enjoyed our conversation.